Hey beautiful souls, and welcome back to this webinar series and the third part and the last one in this installment. I hope that you've really gotten some great insights into the first two. If you haven't watched the first two, please go back and watch them in order first before you get on to this one. Last week we discussed how your emotions are just as important when it comes to not only boosting your health but protecting it as well, and especially the emotions linked to stress and overwhelm. So like I said, if you missed it, go back. But if you've watched it, and maybe you already know this, I'm Andrea Coulter. I've been in the health and wellness industry for over 35 years. And this week, we're rounding out this series with a look at the final piece of boosting and improving your whole health and immunity, which is cleaning up your thoughts and beliefs that negatively impact your emotional and physical health. So what is mental health? What is mental immunity? Just like boosting your physical immunity, you can improve your mental immunity. And what I mean by this is learning to take ownership and control of your own thoughts and being aware of your unhealthy beliefs that are affecting your well-being. And for me, this was one of the hardest pieces of my whole recovery, was really being attentive to my thoughts. And it's something that we don't do. We're living our life so busy, and we're so here and there and dealing with this and that, and all these things. We get so caught up in the paradigm of living life that we don't take time to really pay attention to what's going on up here. And I took a really, really long time to focus on my thoughts, being attentive to your thoughts. The fact is that we are the only species in the world that can actually stop and reflect upon what we're thinking. Do it right now. We're going to take a moment and we're going to think about, while you're watching me talk, what are you actually really thinking about? Because we've always got a bazillion things going on in our head at one time. Even though we're paying attention over here, we're really thinking over here. And I will say this, women are the worst for it. We've always got 101 million things going on in our head all at once. And it's either good or bad. I used to always say, who's driving your bus? Was always the phrase I used to use with my clients is, no, really, are you in control of what's going on up here, or what's going on up here in control of you? Are you just letting it go off on tangents, or are you choosing to really be attentive to your thoughts? That is really the key. Now, here's the thing. Mental illness is dramatically on the rise. We know this. And in my opinion, we're not getting healthier as a species at all. We're getting worse, and especially on a mental and emotional level. Mental health has become the latest huge epidemic in society. And just as damaging as cancer is to the body, so too are unhealthy thoughts. And often what makes negative thoughts and beliefs so difficult to overcome is the fact that your emotions exasperate them. As I said, it's all about you think, then those thoughts make you feel. And when those feelings get out of control, because if you're not controlling them all, then they lead to poor choices with your physical health. And it becomes a very vicious circle. And, that can be really, really hard to break. The more aware of your thoughts and your beliefs that are feeding those thoughts will go a really, really long way in helping you free yourself from not just, acute illness and being susceptible to, coughs and colds and viruses and all this kind of, or stress or all these things, but chronic illness and disease also. So let's start with some self-reflection on how your mind functions and thus creates your thoughts. And I have this as a script, so yes, I'm going to be reading this script because I've written this all out, and this video is going to be kind of long, so bear with. And if you have to do it in chunks, do it in chunks. Come back after a little while. Read through for a while and think about it. Maybe get a notepad, make some notes, come back to this video. It's going to be on my website, and you will have, because you have the way to get in, you have the password and the key to get in here, so save this page so you can come back here. So, as I said, there's a lot here, so let's get at it. We're going to go through some exercises to expand on your steps towards greater mental immunity. And the first step to acquiring mental immunity is to first come to know your own thoughts, to really be honest and aware of what passes through your head on a regular basis. Do you stop and reflect on your daily thoughts? If not, you should do this a few times a day for a while so that it starts to become a habit. Keep track of a note on your phone or in a special journal. And like I said, to help get you started, what I suggest is setting an alarm on your phone or watch, or even putting a sticky note. I did this with clients for years, is just write a little sticky note. Doesn't even have to say anything on it. Just a plain old sticky note and stick it, say, on the bathroom mirror. Because you're going to go into that bathroom a few times a day. And every time you see that note, go, oh, okay, I have to be attentive to my thoughts. So what you're doing is stop all you're doing, calm yourself down, focus inwardly and at what thoughts are actually going on. Recall, what have I just been thinking about? And sometimes at first you get so focused on, I have to think about what I was thinking about. Well, crap, I don't know what I was thinking about. It's going to happen. That's okay. It's going to take some time. You're not used to being attentive to your thoughts. Then it's a slow process. It took me years to actually get to the point where I can completely blank my mind and be here. It's a great place to be, but it took me a really, really long time. But you first have to gain mastery over this, and in a healthy way. So what I'm saying is, notice how when you actually stop to reflect on your thoughts, as I said, you're going to stop thinking. And that's okay. Don't worry about it. It's like when you focus on your breathing at first, you first put conscious awareness on what you're breathing, you actually disrupt your breathing. Have you ever noticed that? If you go and every time you stop to think about, how am I breathing? For that split second, you stop breathing. It's kind of a crazy thing how we do that. Buddha stated, we are what we think. All that we are arises from our thoughts. We are our thoughts. We make the world. It's amazing. What goes on up here affects everything else that's going on in your body. And yeah, we very rarely stop and take awareness of what we're truly thinking, where our thought patterns are going, or how those thoughts are making us feel, and why we're thinking what we're thinking. And in fact, recognize that we can actually change what we're thinking if we pay attention consciously. Such powerful stuff. It really is. The more you can learn to do this, the more empowered, self-empowered you're going to be. The less you're going to be affected by everything else. I know this can sound extreme, and it's not. This is not a negative take control in a negative way. It's actually the opposite that we're looking for. A rigid neurotic control isn't healthy, of course. We know that, nor completely possible. It would also leave no room for change and growth as your soul and spirit evolves in this life. We are in an evolution of self-consciousness. Always, forever. However, we can only grow and improve ourselves. And when you take the time to understand yourself. So through gaining mastery over your thoughts and your emotions, as we did in the video on emotional immunity, you can gain a healthy, flexible mastery over yourself and your own personal evolution. Really, you can. The next step then is to begin noticing, okay? Is your mind generally busy or is it calm? Do you believe you have a good grasp on reality or not? And some of us really think we do, and yet we don't. And one of my girlfriends and I, we always joke about this when we're talking. So when we're in a thought process, we'll go, now again, I could be insane or I could be delusional. But then we always joke that, well, truly insane or delusional people don't question their thoughts. And that's one of the keys to higher consciousness. What do you do when you have troubling thoughts, like worry and guilt and anxiety? Have you ever tried to quiet your mind? If so, what happens? And do you try to think positively most of the time? And if so, how consistently or successful have you been and are you on a daily basis? The mind, which is continually being explored so far, has been divided, as we know, into the right and the left brain, which we know function like the left brain is your linear, logical, rational, mathematical. It reasons, processes, weighs data, compares, and analyzes. The right brain, is more suggestive, primitive, symbolic, visual, spatial, creative, process information, intuitive. The left is connected to your generative conscious thoughts based on your personal identity and intellect. It takes in information, processes, data, beliefs, values, and so on. It's the realm of thinking that you can really pay attention to. The most attention and influence of your awareness is in this side. It's the intellect and reasoning. However, the right, side, subconscious side, we have less conscious control over, or certainly access to it, and the beliefs and the values and the associations that move through it in kind of a subtle undercurrent. They're more felt thoughts and intuitions and instincts. And this actually side is the side that controls your autonomic nervous system. The things that you're not consciously supposed to be aware of, like your hormones and your endocrine system and your breathing and your blood circulation and the immune responses. All of these things are subconscious. And yet, as I said, when you stop to think about your breathing or these subconscious processes, you often disrupt them. It's amazing how we can truly disrupt ourselves. So, where do all your thoughts come from? Whether you're conscious or subconscious. Your thoughts are generally based on your beliefs, your perceptions, your interpretations, your opinions and meanings. All those things we've acquired either through your own life experiences or through held familiar, your family, peer, and authority. They all pass through your mind in relation to your daily activity. Some gain more attention than others, depending on what you choose to focus on, or whether you're even aware that you're choosing to focus on. That's what you're focusing on. For now, let's focus on the thoughts you do have on a daily basis. You do not see reality as it is. You see reality as you are, through the filters of your own personal experiences. In practice, when this comes up, I always use the story of, let's say you and I together decide to go for a walk down my laneway. And we're walking along and we're having a great old time, and a deer jumps out in front of us and takes off. And depending on your past experiences in life, it may be a good or a bad thing. For you, it'd be like, oh, look at that lovely doe. That was so exciting. Was that lovely? And I look at you and you're in sheer panic mode because maybe you were in a car accident with a deer and somebody you love died. Like, all your perception and experiences make how you experience the next thing in a particular way. So remember this. It's this experience which has created the synapses in your mind to remind you of pleasure or painful experiences so you can be prepared to act and react accordingly again in the future. In other words, to create the emotional responses that move the physical body to act. The problem with this is that it narrows down your window of experiences. Your thoughts and perceptions generally control you, especially if you're not attentive to your thoughts on a regular basis. Not only do your thoughts start to fashion themselves according to your past experiences, they reflect and control all immediate and future experiences. You experience the world through 5 primary senses, as you know. Your sight, your hearing, your touch, your smell, your taste. But you do not take them in directly or objectively as they are. You add to them through multi-layered filters distorted by your own interpretations and expectations, assumptions, beliefs, fears, and desires, and even opinions. You don't see, hear, or taste and see the beauty of something. It moves you. You hear the spring birds, and they inspire you, maybe. You taste the pudding that your grandmother used to make you as a kid, when you were sick, and it makes you feel, calm and safe and secure. This is how we experience life. So the only way to begin to change the unhealthy thoughts that you no longer want, though, is to understand all that encompasses thoughts. And I get it. You don't live like a monk. You can't just sit and ponder all day the meanings of your mind. I understand that. However, we are in a good time right now that we can take a little bit extra time to do that. So now's a good time to do it. However, you can take time even just every day once we get back into somewhat whatever normal is going to be. You can still take those moments, those seconds to constantly bring yourself back in and reflect. It can only take 30 seconds, every now and then to be attentive and focus on what your thoughts are based on what that experience is and how it's being fed by that experience. You do have free will and choice to change your thoughts and experiences you have with those thoughts. Remember, reality is what you believe it to be. It really is. Beliefs are a function of the mind and manifested and proliferated by your thoughts. And you can change them. You have the power. Luke, you have the power. Sorry, just had to say that. The steps I use to help acquire greater mental immunity with myself and with all my clients over the last 15 plus years are these. So first, come to know your own thoughts, to really be honest and aware of what passes through your head on a regular basis. Again, stop and reflect on them. Do those exercises that I had suggested. Because the biggest thought that makes the most impact in your health is, believe it or not, believing that you might get sick. Just being fearful of, again, the pandemic right now, or if you're watching this way after the pandemic is settled, great, but whatever is going on, no matter what, illness abounds. So, we're always defending ourselves from illnesses, always. That's how kind of the nature works. Survival of the fittest. And so if you fear getting sick, if you fear cancer, you make yourself more open and susceptible to it by that thought pattern and that belief. And what I mean by this is that when we think we will get sick, this stress and fear triggers the sympathetic system and breakdown that leaves you open to illness. And to help you begin to be more attentive to the directions your thoughts are leading, my suggestions are to really keep track of your thoughts. So every time you feel anxious, overwhelmed, or tense, make a note of this and then reflect on it. What is causing you to feel this way? Try to keep digging deeper into it. The more layers you can unravel and the more you can be aware of it, the better you're going to know yourself, and you're going to maybe get to the bottom of the beliefs and where they came from. Who fed that to you and why? Do you want to keep believing it, or do you want to maybe change it? What are the triggers that you no longer want to have anymore? And to help start, as I said, do the alarm thing on your phone and take time at least 3 times a day to do this. I know this exercise may sound super simple, taking time to reflect on our thoughts and being attentive and digging them out and writing them all down. And or it might seem, either too simplistic, or you maybe feel like, I don't really want to take all that time. But I will say this, it doesn't have to be anything extensive. It just has to be a few moments every single day to be a little bit attentive to your thoughts. And those little bit of times that you do it, they grow. And then it becomes easier for you to be more aware of your thoughts. And maybe you're somebody who's already super aware of your thoughts and your thinking, and you're very highly conscious, which is great. And if you are, then you probably have a much greater level of health on so many levels, because it all starts up here. And so if we're not in control of what's up here in a healthy, conscious way, then everything else just follows suit. So I really think this is the one big exercise that I want all of you to start working on and share with me. Reach out to my Facebook page, email me, whatever. I really want to be aware of, with this series, what were the big takeaways? What area are you struggling the most with? Is it your physical health? Is there certain areas in your physical health that you struggle with? Is it your emotional well-being that you really are weighed down the most by? And if it is, it's better to start on the emotional level before you start digging even into the thoughts and the beliefs, because of the bigger players, they often are the hardest to actually shift if all of this is still out of balance. So those three, what I call the trifecta of health, is really important that they all work together. And if one is way too far out of balance, it's important to start, kind of rebalancing them all in their own way. And did you know that each one of those 3 has their own natural laws that they function under? They shift and change and are healed in completely different ways. And so being aware of all that is important to boosting and protecting your own health. So I really hope that, this series has given you some great insights and a little more insight into yourself, and has given you some great tools to go forward and to make some big improvements, on your own. because taking conscious awareness and steps to honor and love and take care of you is really what we're being taught right now. This is really where we're at in this universe. All this crazy stuff that's been with this pandemic that has been thrown at us is teaching us that we need to stop and we need to take our own due diligence. We need to take care of ourselves first. And yes, all those people we love as well, but we can't do it unless we are healthy and balanced in every way ourselves first. So build up your own immunity and health on a physical, mental, and emotional level first, and then start helping others. So as I said, hopefully this series has given you some great insights, into all the different ways, you may have gotten off track and how you can get yourself back on track. I do have great tools, filter out and check out the rest of my website. And if there's anything that you need, please reach out to me and share with me. What are you struggling most with right now? Which area do you need the most help? And I'm happy to guide you to some even better, resources and tools. Or if you'd like to set up a free initial assessment, if you're not already a client with me and you're new to all of this and you're not really sure what direction to go, I offer, free 15-minute initial health assessments. And you're welcome to, email me and book one, and we can see, what direction is best for you to go right now. I've been in this industry a really long time, and I'm happy to help and guide you in whatever way I can. I'm here to serve. Also, to help you help yourself, be sure to hop on over, check out all the kits. And I will say this: if you aren't really sure where to start, and maybe you think I'm going to figure it out on my own, I'm going to suggest this: go and check out my Jumpstart kit. It is probably one of my all-time favorites in the fact that it hits it hits every single one of these layers of the trifecta all at the same time with some of the best combinations I've come up with over the last 15 plus years. So go check that one out if you really want to make a quick start today. Or if you have some deeper, health issues that, you're tired of struggling with and you want to set up a one-on-one with me, certainly do that. Reach out and email me and we'll set up a time that works for both of us. But anyway, thank you so much for honoring yourself and me with your presence in this video webinar series that I did. I hope that it has given you lots of great insights, and I am sending you lots of whole, resonant, healthy vibes for today, and have an amazing, self-inspiring rest of your day. And I hope to see you again real soon. Bye.